So a lot of people do their own utilities work. I suppose they wonder, why would I bother hiring somebody else to do this when it's quite easy and I can do it myself? And I think I understand that mentality, but I just want to say there are benefits to using people, dedicated people. I mean, people who do this all the time, rather than trying to do it yourself. So let's say you're looking at a site and you're the structural engineer or you're the MEP engineer, and you think, oh, I'll just make some applications for new supplies or whatever it is. You're not really going through the process that someone who perhaps does this, in a day-to-day, dedicates themselves to doing utilities every day would do. You're not. Your attention is split. You've got your main job to do, and you're doing a bit of this stuff on the side. You're also engaging with companies, and once that channel is open, nobody else can really get into it. So, you make an application for a new supplier or diversion, you're in charge of that, and you've got to make sure that you're doing everything properly. So I get a lot of people come to me partway through a project and say, yeah, can you just help me with this? Can you just provide me with a specification for this? Or can you just help me out with this? We've got ourselves into a bit of a pickle. And I just think, why didn't you just come to me earlier in the process when this started? It doesn't cost much. It's not an expensive, it's a pretty frugal exercise to do these kind of due diligence works. And, we can provide you with specifications for surveys, for GPS surveys and trial holes and things. We can de-risk your central London site. But, you've got very tight lines between your property and the highway/footway, where there are going to be services. There's going to be comms, there's going to be big fibre bundles running to merchant banks and JP Morgan and Citibank and all of these things. These are risks that you don't want to have to deal with. So, you might get lucky, but you might not. Is it worth the risk? I don't think it is. I just think you should speak to someone who knows what they're doing, and someone who, it's not that they know what they're doing, because utilities isn't complicated. It's about having a dedicated set of eyes looking at the subject and going through a process and learning and applying that learning to the next job and the next and the next. I am blown away how the learning from one job is applied to the next almost directly. It's like you learn something, the next job that comes along has the exact same thing, which you can benefit with your learning, and then the next, and then the next. And you just don't get that kind of exposure unless you're doing this day to day. You're just not going to get the experience. So this isn't a whinge, it's just, I suppose I'm just calling to the sensibilities of consultants to make use of utility specialists and do it early in a process. And if you are somebody who works in consulting and you're thinking about getting into utility space, there is a demand for this. There's lots of people, there's lots of DIYers, and they do cause quite a lot of trouble that then has to be resolved. It can damage the bottom line of a project, but more importantly, more critically, it damages the perception of the business, because it just makes you look like you don't know what you're doing. When a risk comes to bear, just as you're about to start piling, for example, it just makes you look like a bunch of amateurs. So yeah, don't do that. Anyway, use consultants, use utility consultants, and the more you use them, the more work there will be for them. The more specialists there are, the better a job we can do, and that's my aim really. I want to grow the field, I want to get people into it, and I want to explain what it's all about, and hopefully encourage some of you to get involved. Anyway, have a good day. Cheers.